YouTube. I am Pinstar, and this is Planet Coaster, or Coaster Planet. I get the two confused. So today we are going to go on another coaster building tutorial, but this time slightly different type of coaster, slightly different goal in mind with this coaster. So let's fire it up, shall we? So the coaster type that we're going to tackle today is going to be Looney Turns. There's two different reasons why we're going to go with Looney Turns here. One is that, when you're playing challenge mode, the very first coaster type that you research after getting your freebie American Arrow is Looney Turns. So again, for you challenge players out here, here's the next coaster in the ranks and how maybe you could make use of it. Here's another reason here, and I want you to pay attention to this setting with all of the different coaster types when it comes time for you to choose your coaster. Now, notice when we mouse over here, we see here, Looney Turns, chain lift, can invert, for all ages. For all ages. That's the keywords right there, for all ages. We look over here at the American Arrow, for adults and teens only. So, regardless of how extreme or tame you make your coaster, your American Arrow coaster, children can't ride it. That cuts out a third of your populace from being able to actually enjoy the ride. Now, that being said, you Looney Turns, you can go kind of crazy. I mean, you can go really high. You can go 50 meters high. You can do loop-de-loops. You can do inversions. You can do crazy, intense stuff. But then you're kind of wasting the whole for all ages aspect. You want kids to be able to ride this thing. Kids are allowed to ride it, but they still won't if it's too fearful. So today we are going to be designing a tame junior coaster in the flavor of Looney Turns. Now, one other major thing that's different between Looney Turns and the American Arrow is their cars. These cars don't link up in a giant train the way that that the American Arrow does. So, yes, you can lengthen the station and get more cars, but they're all separate. These cars by themselves, they can only seat 8 people, and they have a lot less momentum than the giant 8-car long trains of the American Arrow that we built in the first episode of this series. So you have to keep that in mind, because the trains and cars' momentum matters. How many cars, how big it is, how bulky of an item that is matters to how it behaves. But in this case, the fact that this is a lightweight car works in our favor. Generally, the lighter weight cars are not going to hold on to their speed nearly as much. They're going to slow down faster. They're not going to pull quite as many G's. It's generally an overall gentler ride, which in this case is a really good thing. So we're going to start out with just the single length of station. I'll go over when to add stuff to it or not. And we will do the same mantra with our lift hill here. So, chain speed 14. I don't care if this is a kiddie ride. There's no excuse for having a less than 14 mile an hour chain speed. Trust me. It's not too extreme for the kids to have that. So let us make our way up. Now, one thing we're going to do a little bit different here is compared to the American Arrow is we went to about, 30, 32? We're only going to go to about half the height. This is going to be a smaller coaster. In fact, looking at the whole $10,000 budget, we're going to be way under that. That being said, children's coasters generally want to have more scenery. So even if we're going to keep up with our $10,000 budget, you probably want to spend whatever's left over on honey bunches of scenery anyway. So same deal applies here. We will flatten you out, and away we go. Now, here I'm not going to go for the extreme drop because we don't want we don't want the cars to get going too fast, too quickly. Again, we are aiming for a low fear coaster, which is ironically harder to build than a moderate fear, like a 5.0 fear coaster. That's easy. I could do that in my sleep. And if you want to go for a high fear coaster, well, sky's the limit. But actually pulling off an exciting low fear coaster is a little bit trickier. I'll share with you a couple more tricks that I've learned along the way here. So first off, one thing when it comes to banking transitions, I found a little trick that you can sort of utilize to help make those transitions smooth whenever you want to make them for kiddie coasters or for grown-up coasters anyway. And that is this. So when you want to transition, have your base banking, in this case, zero banking, and then your goal banking in mind. In this case, I want to go 45 degrees. 45 degrees banking seems to be a pretty healthy, exciting. It's exciting without spiking fear too high or nausea for that matter. So what you do is you do one section at the previous bank. You then do a full transition to the desired bank. And then you do one more straight section at that new banking, just like that. And then you go off and do whatever else you want to do. And also make these all the shortest length pieces. Now, when we finish our coaster here, we're going to revisit this section and I'll show you how to pull this trick off and why it works the way it does. Now here, as I stated in my first episode, one of my favorite things is the wrong way banked curve. Let's lengthen that. So here, people are riding the back side of the curve. We're not riding the front side of the curve. This results in negative G's. Negative G's, when taken at the right speed, are a lot more exciting than they are fearful. And they're certainly not nauseating. Now, being that we're coming off the lift hill, just limping off the lift hill and not going down at a rocket's drop there, we're not pulling too much speed here. So we can not only do this transition safely, but we can also start going into this outside loop. In fact, because these cars don't have a lot of momentum, we can stay in this loop for quite a while, actually. We're going to just let it sit here and loop-de-loop itself around the whole time, maintaining its banking here. Now it starts to pull loose a little bit here, and I actually want to keep it. I want to keep the spiral a little tighter here, because we kind of want these guys to hug each other a little bit. Kind of makes it a little more exciting. So we're going to shorten this because at this point we will have bled off some speed from the friction. So we want to tighten it up just a little bit just to maintain the excitement. No. Enough of your auto avoid. Yeah, let's see. What is... It's probably... Yeah, because keep in mind that the area where something is considered obstructed takes into account where people's heads are. So since this is banked, the obstructed line goes a little bit further this way than otherwise would normally be. So, yeah, we still want to tighten the turn. There, that's better. Actually, I'm okay with them going back up a little bit. We don't want them going up too high, or it will slow. No. In fact, in this case, I'd be okay with shortening this and making this a little camel hump, because we don't want to spend too much time higher up. Because, like I said, these things don't carry a lot of momentum. Now, where are you going? No. All right, we're diving. Now this is going to elicit the head chopper effect here, which may or may not work to our benefit. Sometimes the head chopper gets a little bit too intense and will actually spike your fear rating. So we're going to need to see how this works in testing here. There we go. Now here I'm going to do the same thing. We have a desired angle here. Boom. We're going to change it to the other desired angle. In this case, 45 the other direction, and then another one 45 the other direction. And now we're going to do a counter banked turn in the opposite direction. Although we're going to shorten this a little bit. It's not going to be quite as big of a circle. We do want to... There we go. This will give us another little head chopper right here. Like right here. These people entering the track right here will get a head chopper effect of this. And hopefully that will keep the ride nice and exciting without making it too fearful. Again, we are here to minimize fear. And notice I'm being very, very gentle with the angles. I mean, this right here might be a little bit too steep of a hump. I need to see what testing says about that. Now, for our little end here, again, we don't want to rush to the finish with an autocomplete, as tempting as that may be. So what we can do here, let's make it, making it parallel to the station is a good, sometimes a good thing here. We're going to do the same little trick here. We're going to transition to, in this case, no banking. We're going to shorten it. And then we will do one more of no banking and then go into what we want here. Now here, I'm going to try a little something here. We've probably slowed down enough, so a little bit of lateral G's might make things kind of exciting here. So I'm going to make a turn, a wide turn, mind you, but not bank it. Just so you're pressed a little bit into the side of your seats. We'll see how that works. And then now that we're close enough, I'm comfortable with autocomplete. All right, let us give this... Oh yeah, wait, I almost forgot my little transition trick. So here's the transition trick. Remember, so these little transition tricks are 3 pieces long. So we want to click on one and then extend this by 1, and that will cover all 3 here. Then you do smooth banking a few times. And what that will do is it will give you because this starts out at one transition, and this one starts out in the complete opposite transition, and this one's sort of a sharper one. It makes the whole line a smooth transition, which when you're trying to tamp down fear ratings is exactly what you want to do. Same deal goes here. You don't want to do this on a turn. You want this on a straightaway. Smooth banking. Just a few clicks right there. And then one more time on this little transition. Smooth banking. There we go. That will smooth out these transitions, which generally cuts down on the fear and nausea, but generally doesn't hurt the excitement. All right, now let's give this lark a try. And let's unpause. There we go. All right, up we go. Nice fast lift hill that doesn't take too long because it's a really... All right, here it goes. See, we're already up to a 10 excitement, but fear isn't too... Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, Nelly. What have I done? This is a big boy coaster right here. Well, let's see how the fear averages out here. Yeah, 5.3. That's too high. This would be a great coaster for an adult. This would be a perfect adult coaster. But that's not what we're after here. So let's see where our nastiness happens. Fear. Right here. It starts to build up. All right, I think what yeah. And see, that's the problem. Once you spike up to a certain level of fear, it lingers. Even if the G-forces involved are no longer scary, that fear lingers for a while. And for a kiddie coaster, we don't want that to be that too scary here. So we're going to need to do something about that. This is why building kiddie coasters are harder than a grown-up adult coaster. Now, this is going to slow it down a little bit, but it might invite some head chopper effects, which might not be welcome, but again, testing is needed. If not, I might shorten this a little bit, or actually maybe make it do 2 loops around. Maybe not make it drop quite so steep, and just have it bleed out even more. Yeah, we're still spiking into the 8s. Too many negative G's. Just too many. All right, let's do plan B then. We are going to we'll put that here. So always be willing to demolish a section of your coaster if you think things need to be reworked a bit. All right, so we're going to go maximum length. We're going to go for the big turn, but we're going to make the drop a bit more shallow so we can get a couple more twists out of this. We don't want it going back up. We do want it actually going down, because otherwise it's going to go way too slow, and that will be boring. So if we can get 2 rotations here, just keeping it going down gradually. It also lengthen the coaster a little bit, and we'll pull it in a little bit tighter here. Maybe loosen it up at the very bottom. And then auto-complete that beast. Okay, now with 2 of these, maybe we'll be in a better place. Because the descent is a little bit more gradual, so you don't quite get as big a fear spike. It also might tame down the fear levels in these latter parts. All right, we're still at a 4. That's good. That's good. Nice and slow. Nice and slow. All right, it's spiking a little bit, but so is excitement. Calm it down. Calm it down. Yeah. All right, fear's coming back down. Excitement's going back up. All right, this might work. All right, yeah, this is the kind of boring section, and I might do something to improve it. 4.54, that's not bad. Although I'm actually aiming for under 3, or for under 4 is what I'm actually. Not funny, Planet Coaster. Not funny. So it decided to get cute and crash right in the middle of my speech. And thus, this is what we are left with. But worry not. I was going to remake the ride anyway, as we had some fundamental flaws to it. Right then. Now, part of part of my plan here is not only making the spiral go down a little bit less steep, so you don't have build up as much speed, but also, tightening it. So here, we're actually going to go with some smaller pieces, and then slowly sort of Nautica shell us ourselves into slightly wider pieces, like that. And then each piece is going to get just a little bit wider. This might be a little bit slow, so we're gonna go for a dip, but we're gonna go for one piece longer. And then 1 piece longer. 1 piece longer. Piece longer. Go down for another. Yeah, 1 more, and then we'll go for a dip. And then that's the end of the lengthening. So that's about as gradual a spiral as we can get. Now, that being said, we're still racing on... the other thing we can do to make it even wider is to make the turns less steep. And by less steep, I mean less extreme. Just nice, wide turns. Alright, I think we are... Well, let's widen it just a little bit more. And then we will make our way back to the station, because we're burning up a lot of track here. Not that I'm worried about expense, I'm actually worried about friction. These things don't, as I've said before, don't carry a lot of momentum. And this is a lot of friction that they're going to be accumulating. So these cars are going to be slow. Now, to make this bit a little bit more interesting, I think we're going to go for the up-down seesaw here. So we do it. We're in this case, we're not going to gentlify the transition as I've done in the past. We're just going to make it a long piece in this case. 45 the other direction, and up a bit. And then, yeah, we'll do it on the backside here, and then we'll actually go into a proper turn with the proper banking, but we'll make it a bit harder, bit firmer of a turn here. And then we'll auto-complete. Okay, game. Can you not crash on me this time? Let's do our little banking trick here. Boop, boop, boop. And well, we'll see what leaving this area unsmooth is, because by doing longer pieces you're essentially doing this, but just to a slightly rougher degree. But we want it a little bit rougher here because we want to keep the excitement up. All right, let's see if we have enough momentum. We might be a little low on momentum. There you go. Alright, here we go. Nice tight turns, keeping it exciting, but not too extreme. And now we're going on there. See how we're maintaining about 30 miles an hour? Alright, see, we dip down a little bit lower than 30 miles an hour, and now fear and excitement are really taking a hit. Yeah, see, now we're just trundling along at lift hill speed. That's not good. Okay, so we went a little bit too crazy with making this too wide. We should tighten this turn up a little bit more. But that's fine. That's good, because here we're still at our 30. So if we keep it low to the ground here, it should maintain 30 miles an hour for the rest of the ride here. Oh, I want that one. There we go. No. I said left click, thank you. Alright, so in this case, we're going to keep you low to the ground and we're going to make you tight. And actually, some up and downs here might keep the excitement levels rising. No. Oh, we're running into this again, aren't we? Might be worth it if we then, yeah, tighten up the turn like that. That could work, actually. Let's give it a shot. And this area is not too bad by itself. It just needs to have a little bit more speed going into it. So yeah, see, 20, 27, 28, 30, 34. 34 seems to be the sweet spot here. 30, 31, staying exciting. All right, excitement's dipping, but that's okay. So is fear. And we want a slightly more... All right, let's... It's 3.61. This is actually really close to what I want. The reason is that while I was originally aiming for under a 4, what I'm really aiming for is under a 3.7. I'll explain why in a moment. But here, let's excitementify this a little bit more and also get it going a little bit faster here. I think a nice dip here will improve this final section. All right, we're good, we're good, we're good, we're good, we're good, we're good. It's okay to have a slightly more boring part here. That spices it up just a little bit. 3.74, almost at that magical 7 spot. Let's lower this, because we want the speed to continue being a little bit faster. And, oh, that's much better. Much better. There we go. We're over the 7. We're under the 4, although... I would like it to be a little bit less. Maybe up like that. Just to speed it up, just to slow it down a little bit, then speed it up, then slow it down. Yeah, because we want to keep the fear nice and low. That area kind of sucks too. This could stand to be lowered. Again, we're trying to go for that really low fear spot. Nice and low here. All right. Good. All right, that's actually not too bad. But we're back up over a 4. That's not what we want. Let me look for hot spots. Right here. Right here. We need to cool it down immensely. So oftentimes going right way up is a perfect way to tamp down fear, because the more tilted you are, and especially if you're upside down, the more fearful that section is. That didn't quite work fully. Well, let's go for a smooth. Just so that we're not pulling too many G's here. And again, we want that fear to be not so bad. Ah, good. See, it doesn't spike. That smoothing is kind of what the doctor ordered here. Still 0.045. I know I'm getting greedy here, but if you really, really want a ride that will be rideable by all families, you want to get it further down there. So maybe we do need the boring section here. Maybe just a gradual descent here, you know. We make this one a little bit taller just to slow it down, make it kind of boring, and then we go down for a little bit more speed. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. A good chunk of fear lopped off with not too much excitement lost in the process. Now, if we can get this just a little bit... Actually, you know what would be good here? Is the smooth all parts. Because that will make the transitions here a little bit smoother. A little slow, but not too boring. And you know what? I think I'm going to call it at 3.81. Although it would be really nice if I could get it just to a 3.8. That would allow all but the most timid of people to be able to ride this thing. Let's smooth. Oh yeah, smooth all right there might be good. All right, let's speed this lark up. How do we do? Yes! Beautiful! Beautiful! Print it! Alright, now Now comes actually we can't print it just yet, because we still have one more thing to consider, and that is how many cars do we want to drive on this thing at once? If we go here, a standard length station can hold 2 cars, and oftentimes that's all you want. So one of the other things that you want to do with these kind of rides here is, and the reason why you want to kind of limit the cars, is this. The settings for a ride like this, I would say any load, no minimum waiting time, don't block the station. This will force cars, if another car shows up, the first car will leave. But ideally, these cars will never meet. And not because there's any kind of danger to it. So here we have our first family. What are your tolerances? Low. 0.1 to 4.2. And yet, this scared little child, this timid little child, is willing to go on their very first coaster. That, my friends, is why we were aiming for a score so low. What about you, kid? Generally, though, a group will share pretty much the same fear preferences. So even the grown-ups will have the same low fear preferences. See, had we gone with our higher coaster, this family would have turned around. If this had been 4.3 in fear rating, they would have been nope and gone right the heck around. Now, the other reason why these kiddie coasters aren't so bad, and it's not just for families. We take this hard-banging teen squad here with a very high fear preference, 9.0 at the high end, 1.5 at the low end. Even the hardcore people are willing to go on this thing. So you have a coaster that is good for everybody. Now, ideally here, we saw those two bump into each other before. We don't want that happening. But naturally, when they're spaced out like this, they won't. Now, we could, see, the question is, could we fit in a third car here? We could not fit in a fourth. But would a third car be able to load, unload, and go about its business here? Because that would increase the rider throughput here. But keep in mind that riders have to get off, those have to close, those have to open, they have to get on, that has to close, and then they leave. So transitioning and doing the throughput for all of these is a little bit more difficult to manage. And so putting a third car on here might not necessarily be the best way to go. And here's the reason why. When a car pulls into the station and stops, but stops before reaching the actual end of the ride, it counts this time as part of its excitement calculations. That will greatly diminish the excitement of the ride. All right, now let's see if this thing makes it out of here before the next one shows up. See, I don't know if... see, now this one's going to make a clean getaway. Eventually, they will naturally space themselves out. I don't think we could get away with a third car on this one. So, this ride, if it had a weakness, it is low throughput. Lower. But you still have a tremendous advantages in the sense that you're going to get pretty much anyone who wants to go on any kind of rides going on this thing. There's only one type of family I've seen that has a 3.7 fear tolerance. It's a 0 to 3.7. They won't go on jack. Now, why all the fuss? Why not just build a bunch of flat rides for all the family people? I mean, after all, these things have really low excitements and, they work just fine. and they keep your little kid families entertained. Well, that's true, but here's the thing. Your families often have big, fat wallets. Look at that, $610.55. Now, a family that is too timid to go on roller coasters, which you can typically jack the price up, especially if you do the scenery properly for them, will definitely drain their bank accounts properly. Whereas, if all this family ever rode was the Venetian carousel over and over again, and maybe bought a soda, and maybe bought a burger, you would never be able to extract all $610 from them. So rides like this is what really, really helps bring it in, and helps you milk the cash from your family groups. So, and like I said, I'm not optimizing here for cash, but once we scenery this place up, it will be a real moneymaker. So if you want this little Kiddy coaster in your park, I will have a link to the bare bones blueprint in the description of the video. So if you like this video and you want to see more like it, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and leave me a comment, good, bad, or indifferent. Your feedback is always welcome. So until next time, this has been Pinstar signing out. See ya!